So you have decided that you need a professional videographer. Now what, right? There's so many to choose from because as we came out of COVID, we're seeing videographers left and right. And how do you know which ones are good and which ones aren't? Let's talk about it. So just like with any hire, you're gonna wanna have a conversation with them up front. So you'll get their information from somebody that you trust, hopefully, and you'll reach out and it'll go great. And then you'll ask for an interview over Zoom. And what happens next is really the important part. Are they engaged? Are they excited about the project? Do they seem competent? Do they know the industry? Do they know your industry? Are they able to do what you're asking them to do, and are they available? All of those are important questions to address up front. Assuming they make it through all of those hurdles, you then decide, what's next? Are we gonna give it a trial run? Are we gonna hire them full on, full steam ahead? Or are we gonna say, hey, let's just test this out, let's try something? In my case, my videographer was not available. And I was in a situation where I had to decide, is this project urgent enough to veer off my normal course and risk the brand, or should I wait for my normal guy? In my situation, I had no choice. I've got a couple lessons that I learned along the way. I wanna share them with you. So let me play this out for you. It's the day of the shoot, and it's no secret that I don't love being on camera. I'm nervous, I'm sweating, I've been practicing all day. I get to the location early, which for the record, I'm never early anywhere that I go, and I'm standing there with my guest. And I get this sense of, uh-oh, something's not right. And that came to fruition when the videographer was late. So there I am with this guest, a very important player, if I might add, and I have no videographer to show for it. Great, let's just whip out our iPhones and let's do this. Videographer walks in, totally unprepared, completely flustered. I get it, sometimes traffic is bad. Listen, I'm the queen of being late everywhere I go. But when he walked in, it then took him another 20 minutes to set up. So I have now wasted this gentleman's time for almost 30 minutes. It's embarrassing, my brand is on the line. This is not the first impression that I wanted to have with him. Now, I am no expert in this industry, and I am not able to tell you the difference between a Sony and a Canon. But I can tell you if the person using the equipment knows what they're doing. In this case, I'm not confident that he did. I can also tell you if the equipment being used matches the size of the project. And in this case, I'm not sure that it did. So at this point, I'm feeling very flustered, as you can imagine, but I'm telling myself, it's okay. Let's just get through the first interview. It's gonna get better. Sometimes we just gotta work out the butterflies. It's our first time working together. We're gonna make this happen because it has to happen. And I'm in the middle of the interview and I realize this is not getting any better. And I realized that because the videographer was filming me from above and very, very close to my face. And so we have this super interesting shot that's happening during the interview with me and this other guest. And I have no idea what it looks like on the other side, but I can only imagine it's straight down my dress and right up my nose. But again, I tell myself, there's nothing you can do about it right now. Just finish the interview and then we'll watch the playback and we'll just see what happens. And I can tell you that the playback was exactly as I imagined it was, but it was too late. So that takes me right into my next red flag, which is, how creative is the person behind the camera? Because we finished our first interview and we roll straight into our next activity. But before we do, I said, hey, do you want to take some surrounding shots? Sure. What do you want me to shoot? Was the response that I got. Well, I work on contracts, you work on videos. This is kind of your area of expertise. What do you think would look great? We need to fill the space. We got to cover up the fact that you shot down my dress the whole time. So what do you want to shoot to make sure that this project is a success? And I didn't get anything that was helpful. So I was like, well, let's go over here. This looks great. And let's go over here. This looks great. And I frankly have no idea in the moment if it's going to look great, but we had to do something, right? Because nobody just wants to watch me talk for an hour. That's no good. And I just wasn't getting the feedback that I was so used to. See, one of the reasons that I love my videographer is that he sits down and he collaborates with me before every video. This guy, I felt like I was a waste of his time. I felt like either I wasn't important enough, or he was too busy, or maybe frankly he just didn't like the subject matter of the video that we were making, because that very much comes across the camera whether or not they intend for it to. And I don't know to this day what the problem was, but I know that there was a problem, and I know for a fact that it wasn't what I expected. And I also know that that transferred into the content that was created. So I mentioned that he was late, and I mentioned it took a while to set up, and I forgot. Frankly, I forgot to ask to see the playback. And that's on me, because if I had done that, then we could have caught something early, but we didn't. So we roll on to our next location, and we're talking to our next guest, and of course, it takes them a while to set up again. So long, in fact, that the last guest that we were scheduled to interview gave up on us. So imagine that. Here I've put my brand on the line and I'm doing these interviews, and the last person just says, no thanks, we're good. Well, that's embarrassing, right? And so we've got issues with setup, we've got issues with cameras, we've got issues with equipment, we've got issues with you name it, there was a problem with it. In fact, there was a moment where I was to do a long introduction, and I had been practicing all day. And it was a lot of words, and you guys, I'm not that smart. And I was in the middle of getting it right after getting it wrong several takes in a row. And then the battery on the camera dies. Okay, we can do this. And then we start going again, and I get it wrong a couple times, but then I'm finally getting it right. And then the SD card fills up. So we stop again. And at this point, you guys, I had had enough. I was tired and I was hungry, and it had been a really long day because this was not what I was used to and not what I was anticipating. And I walk around the corner and I almost start to cry. I almost lose it. And I'm literally having this conversation with myself. Don't do it. Don't cry. You got to get back on camera. Everybody's going to notice. You've made it this far. You can do this. I'm cheerleading for myself around the corner from the videographer, which it is not a videographer's job to cheerlead for you, but you would hope that they're not the one to make you cry. So we get through it, and I have no words. I have no words. Actually, I have a lot of words. They're just not appropriate for camera. And I just want to share with you these next couple things to watch out for, because I think it's so important. I have worked with a handful of videographers, and I have worked for some really great ones and some not so great ones. This one was exceptionally subpar. Maybe he was having a bad day. We all do. And maybe this was his first day. I don't know. We all start somewhere. But if you are looking to do something that is super important for your brand, then I encourage you to watch out for these next couple things, because they matter. And I don't want to see you make the same mistakes that I did. So now that you've heard my story, here's a couple things that you can put into practice immediately to make sure that you hire the right videographer for your situation. The first thing, have a discovery call, whether that's on the phone, on Zoom, or in person. Have some type of discovery meeting where you get to see how they show up and how they present themselves. Obviously, the Zoom and the in-person are the most preferred, because you want to know, are they showing up in their pajamas, or are they taking you seriously? Are they enthusiastic about the project? And really kind of create that personal connection so that on shoot day, you've already got all of the introductions out of the way. It feels like you guys are connected, so that the guests that you're interviewing don't feel the awkwardness, right? Being on camera is rough. It just is for all of us. So if it's rough for you on camera and it's rough between you and the videographer, then it's just gonna be miserable. Now, during the discovery call, the thing that you wanna watch out for is, are they asking enough questions? And what I mean by that is, are you having to pull stuff out of them, or are they helping to create the vision for you? And it's okay if you go in with a vision and they've never met you before, so they don't know what you expect. But if you say, hey, look, I want to do some walking and talking shots, they then need to understand what that means to you, right? Or if you say, hey, I want to interview a guest, they need to say, is it one guest? Is it two guests? Right? How many microphones are you going to need? What type of lighting are we going to do? Is it inside? Is it outside? Do I need a gimbal? Do I need a stabilizer? What do I need in order to create this vision and bring it to life for you? If you're just dumping information on them and they're saying, okay, and maybe writing it down, maybe not, that's not really the best indicator for future success. You want them to be like, oh, well, when you say that, what do you mean by that? Or that sounds good, I just did it over here, how do you feel about that? And you guys collaborate and create that vision up front. Because if you're not giving them the information, they're not gonna know what you expect, right? So that's on you, you've gotta do your part as well. But if you're giving them the information and they don't do anything with it in that moment, then you can pretty much guarantee your shoot will not be a success. So you made it through your discovery meeting and you decided to hire this person. I still encourage you, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't use this brand new person that you've just hired on days that are super important to you. Give them an opportunity to show you what they're capable of. Because maybe they're really, really great at interview style, or maybe they're really great at drone. You don't know until you give them a chance. And then from there, you can decide, okay, I really like the way they handled this, or maybe they're not so great at this, but that's okay, we don't need that. Give them an opportunity to show you what they can do before you put them on the spot to deliver the most amazing video that should be the highlight of your career, and then you're disappointed. It's not fair to them, quite honestly. Now, within that, no shoot is ever gonna go as expected. They never do. Something always happens. You're either gonna show up to a building and there's gonna be an echo, or you'll show up outside and there's a flight path that you weren't expecting, or maybe the sun is setting and you weren't planning for that. How involved is that videographer in those moments? Do they adapt to those situations well? Or do they expect you to be the one to adapt? Because as the person on the camera, it's not really your job to decide how to pivot that shoot. It's the videographer's job. It is both of your jobs to work together to find a mutually agreeable solution, but they should be the one that says, hey, this doesn't look right. I don't think you're gonna be happy with this. Let's do it this way instead. I know that's not your original vision, but I think that you'll be happier with the result. Work together with your videographer. And so in this first trial run, if you will, you're giving that new hire a chance to show you what they're capable of. And that's so, so important. So remember when I told you that I intended to ask to see the playback, but then we got in a hurry because we were running behind and it just slipped my mind. Ask to see the playback early, because you never know what the other side of the camera looks like. And maybe they were too punched in and you don't want them to be there. And maybe they were too wide and you needed them to be more punched in. You don't know what that videographer is thinking. Sometimes you're not going to be able to use the background at all and you just need them to be kind of blurred out. I don't know the official terms. I'm not going to pretend to. I'm not a videographer. What I am going to tell you is that the videographer needs direction from you so that they know what to do. And then you need to give feedback to the videographer, just like any professional relationship. You have to have a deliverable and feedback, and deliverable and feedback. And then together, you guys are going to work together and hone that brand over time. But if you don't ask to see the playback early and you forget like me and you get to the end of the shoot, it's too late. There's nothing you can do. Which takes me to my next point. Not everything can be fixed in post. Now you guys, that is my new favorite saying, because now that I know that you can fix it in post, I'm gonna use it everywhere, right? Oh, there's a car driving by, fix it in post. There's an airplane going over, fix it in post. Not everything can be fixed in post, right? If there's a tree in the background, you don't want the tree in the background, you can't really take a tree out of a video. It's kind of a big deal. So be really careful if you have a videographer that says, don't worry, we'll fix it in post. Because what they're doing, if they're not the videographer and the editor, or if they don't have the editor on their team, they're just pushing that problem down the line. Make it as easy as possible for your editing team to deliver you the product that you want. If your videographer is trying to just push it off on them, chances are if you don't get the deliverable you want, they're gonna say, well, the editor didn't do a good job. Maybe that's true, I don't know. But it could also be that the videographer should have done a couple things differently. Beware of the statement, we'll fix it in post. A green flag that you want to watch out for is your videographer who has a very strong sense of audio. I can't tell you which microphones are better than others, and I can tell you that AI can fix a lot of things. But if you have a videographer who tries to capture the very best audio on the front end, it's going to deliver you a better product on the back end. Now, case in point, I have a video that my normal videographer did, and it was amazing. And the audio was perfect. And then when I was posting in my early years of posting on social media, I didn't know what I was doing, and I accidentally pushed a button that put a song over the top of it. And what it did is it had me talking with clean audio with the music playing over the top of it, and it just sounded awful. And one of the comments that I got from a very lovely person on the internet was, I'm sure it would be a great video. I have no idea what you're saying. Fix your audio. I give you that example just to share, audio is so important. Audio is jarring. It's a sense that you can't get away from. If you have a great video with terrible audio, it's not gonna do as well as a average video with great audio. Audio matters, so look for a videographer who understands that and cares about it. So one conversation that you won't be able to get away from is price, right? We've all got to get paid for our time. None of us work for free. Is the price in line with what you expect? And if you're first getting into hiring a videographer, all the pricing is going to seem too high. I'll be honest. It is like, take your breath away. Oh my God, no thank you. So I encourage you to shop around. And as you start shopping around, you're going to see things all across the spectrum. Be really leery of the people that fall at the bottom half of that pricing spectrum, because it may sound attractive to keep that extra money in your account, but I'm not sure what you're going to get as a compromise. Are they new? That's fine. We all start somewhere. There's nothing wrong with being new. Are they not sharing all of the fees up front and they're going to nickel and dime you later? Possibly. Is the project even worth their time, or they're going to bail on you at the last minute when they get paid for something better on the same day? That's probably the worst scenario that you can have. So just be really cautious of the lowest bidder. And I'll translate that back to real estate, right? We are all free to set our own prices. It's one of the most amazing things about where we live. But if the real estate agent comes in and offers the lowest price to sell your home, and they can't even negotiate their worth and what they expect to be paid, how confident are you that they're going to be able to negotiate on your behalf and put extra money into your pocket when the time comes? And that's a conversation, a very real conversation that I have with sellers all the time, is I'm not your lowest cost provider. I never will be. But if you're looking for the lowest cost provider, are they really going to give you the best service and the best experience? Maybe, maybe not. If we look at that and translate that over to the videographer experience, the lowest cost provider may not be what you're looking for. You're going for consistency, image, and brand. And that matters more than anything else, because that goes on the internet and it lives there forever. So make the investment. If you're going to choose to hire somebody, hire the right person. The final thing that you want to ask about is, what's their experience in your industry? And for my industry, for example, we have some very specific regulations that we have to follow. And there's certain things that I can and can't say, and certain situations that I can and can't put on video. Does the videographer that you're hiring understand those, know what those are, or not? If they know what those are, that's great. That's a luxury. It's unusual unless they're highly specialized and they've been doing it for a long time. But if they know it, then you don't have to be so guarded with your message, because you know that they've got your back and they're going to edit it out for you later. They'll fix it in post, my new favorite phrase. But if you hire somebody that doesn't know your industry, that's fine too. Just make sure that you tell them, hey, watch for these things. I can't say these words. If you use my logo, you also have to do this. There are so many different things that may or may not guard your industry. Make sure that you communicate those to your videographer. Now, the point of this video is not to shame anybody and not to tell the world that this videographer isn't good, because that's not the case. I now realize all the areas that I fell short in this process and all the things that I should have done differently to set this project up for success. So my whole goal here is to help you not make the same mistakes that I did. Because we have to remember, it may be their craft, but it's our project. And if I don't do my part, there's no way that they can be successful. But if I do my part and the project's still failing, then it's probably time to move on to a different person. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does make a difference. I'll see you in the next video.